If you have 10,000 followers on any platform, you know how difficult it is to create any type of following. It just requires a lot of hard work, consistent work to get that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 11th episode of our podcast, Pepper Spotlight. And in this show, we talk about all things content. My name is Pawan Rochwani, and today we have a very interesting personality with us on this episode who's going to talk about all things ranging from content platforms, how to find extraordinary entrepreneurs, startups, and a very mathematical angle also towards all of these things. But before I introduce you to the guest of the episode and what we're going to talk about more broadly, let me first thank you all for supporting us for the last 10 episodes. I think all the love that you have shown us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, across platforms, YouTube comments that you pour in, we're very, very thankful to you about that. Please keep supporting this show and Pepper content throughout all these social platforms. Anytime you have any recommendations or guest suggestions, just hit us a DM and we'll be making sure that we take your suggestions. Let me start this conversation with Pratik Poddar, where I speak to him about how they look out for extraordinary entrepreneurs and startups, and some things broadly about the content ecosystem as well. This conversation was pre-recorded with him, so you'll listen to our conversation, which was recorded over a Zoom call from here on. Thank you so much, Pratik, for giving us your time and on an early morning and on such short notice. We are really, really thrilled to have this conversation with you today.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you for inviting.
I want to start with something very simple so that it starts the context and brings things into place. Can you tell us about some of the prominent portfolios and companies that Nexus has invested into?
Yeah. So just to give some context, Nexus is a seed Series A investor. We typically come in at early stages in the company, in tech first companies, product first companies. We are the early investors in Postman, in Pubmatic, in Dhruva, Delivery, Unacademy, Inframarket, Zolo, Pratilipi, Turtlemint, and so on.
And what does this product first company really mean? I don't want to misunderstand something. So why don't you explain what does product first companies really mean?
Yeah, like it's just the DNA of the firm, and we have realized it for ourselves that we love founders and companies that are not throwing money at the problem, that are not throwing people at the problem. People who are solving the problem by technology, product, by genuinely understanding the customer problem and trying to solve in a scalable manner. I think those are the founders we have naturally found best resonance with. And as a firm, over time, it's not a 1 day or a 15-day thing. Like over time, after 10 12 years of working with lots of entrepreneurs, we realize that is who we have, that is who we have been, and that is what we have enjoyed the most. And then we started articulating our passion and our interest in crisp terms, that entrepreneurs who are thinking about solving the problem in a scalable manner using tech and product are definitely the first port of call for us.
Got it. And because these are, as you mentioned, early stage entrepreneurs or organizations and products, how does how is the working at a VC firm where you're just thinking about, okay, this is an early age startup and early entrepreneurs, should we invest into this? Is it completely mathematical, or you are also visualizing certain and taking consideration of social aspects or the ecosystem, what's going on in the country? How does that working and that system really is at a VC
Yeah.
firm?
Uh, so since our audience is more diverse here on this podcast, I'll first take a step back and say, not every entrepreneur should be going after VCs. So many high value entrepreneurs will make a lot of money, who will create a lot of value in the world, who will create a great brand for themselves, might not be looking for VC money, or should not be looking for VC money. I come from a trader family. My parents have been trader and builders and shop owners since they were 15 years old. And I like people like them are they've created a great brand for themselves. People love them, people respect them. They have made us who we are. They have and so people like them should not be going after VC firms. VC firms are best suited for entrepreneurs who want to leverage capital and build high growth large companies. Not every company is like that, and that's totally okay. There's no point changing your company for the supply of capital that is available. So that's an overarching thought I would have. However, for entrepreneurs who want to do that, and lots of companies in the country have been created for the past 10, 15 years in that vein, or the entrepreneurs that want to do that, VC firms think about it in a very structured manner. We I think there are three verticals in which we evaluate companies on. One is, which is the most important thing, is the founder. So is the founder passionate about the problem? Does he have the perseverance? Will he be able to build the team? Does he know something about the problem that no one else does? Does he have strong conviction on the problem? Will he be able to steer the ship? Because at the end of the day, at early stage, everything will change. The founder will be constant. Hence, the founder needs to be strong and committed to solve the problem. So that is the most important thing. Perhaps 50% of the decision making is on the basis of the founder. The 30% of the decision making is perhaps on the basis of the market. Because you can change a lot of things in the company, but market is more difficult to change. However, market expands in many cases, which sometimes you do not know of, and that is why I have kept it lower than the team, because a lot of times our perception of the market might be wrong. But large market size is important, just because the fund sizes we operate in are large enough, and large market is needed for us to be able to return that size of the fund. So market size is important. Third is more liquid, is more subjective. It's the approach. So how is your approach differentiated? How is your approach defensible? Do we have alignment on on what type of approach works, what type of approach does not work, what's the strategy around that, and just understanding the working model of the company and the founder. That's the third aspect. But founder, market, approach is the order in which we evaluate companies. We of course have been wrong multiple times, but we have been right sometimes as well, and that is what is important.
Got it. And based on, let's say, if 30% is about the market, what did the year 2020 really change, as in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, or let's say for you, about what you should look out for, or in general, what did the year 2020 change in the perspective of investing?
So first of all, like 2020 was a weird year, right? No one expects that. No one hopes for that, and lots of things changed. However, so first of all, looking back, we luckily were heavy investors in edtech and a remote work slash developer tool slash SaaS products, which led to phenomenal expansion in the value of our portfolio. We are the first amongst the first investors in Unacademy, White Hat Junior, Newton School, Quizzes, uh, and all that tech companies grew because the market just shifted in some sense. We're the first investors in Postman, Hasura, and all of these companies grew significantly because firms and whereas developers are now working from home, and better collaboration software helps them to create better products. So especially in these two verticals, we saw huge expansion, and that's why the firm did very, very well. For future, I think one thing that has changed is that adoption of internet or internet products in India has just increased significantly, and that means that we are 4 5 years ahead in the journey that we were supposed to be in 2019, right? So we are already in 2025 what we would have expected in terms of the market, which is great, and that's true across the board, whether it's commerce, whether it's commerce, that's true across the board, whether it's commerce, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, financial services, everything has seen significant bump in usage. On the enterprise side in India as well, suddenly there's a trigger point now that all the enterprises want to digitize their processes. So till now we have never seen SaaS companies being sold to India in a big way, but now perhaps times will change. We are now seeing lots of Indian companies creating products for the global markets. So earlier it was only SaaS products. Now we are seeing services and products as well being sold from India for the global market, which are where the AOE is much higher and the supply cost is much lower because things are being built in India. I think this change is visible for the first time, and next few years would be awesome because of that, because lots of new companies will be created, lots of the supply in India will be unlocked, serving for the developed markets, and the economics will completely change. I think 2020 just created a sea change in terms of adoption in the market.
Got it. And I mean, let's say 50% is the founder or the team, 30% is the market, and 20% is liquid or variable kind of factors. Do you think luck also sometimes plays some part into all of this? Because, like, we never really knew 2020 will bring in this change, and all the portfolios, especially in the tech, segment that you did, skyrocketed. So, what do you have to say? Should we give some percentage to luck or
Yeah,
not?
yeah, I know people sound smarter when they say you make your own luck and so on. uh, but we have enough examples out there to understand that at the end of the day, not only in VC, not only in entrepreneurship, but in life, luck plays an important role. And I think you just have to work hard enough and be perseverant enough to be more lucky. But at the end of the day, luck plays an important role. All we are trying to optimize for is that I would perhaps be luckier than my other self because I am working harder, I am talking to more people, I'm helping more people, and good karma will play a better role in life in general. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we are all trying to improve luck here. And that's not a smart thing to say, but that's what I truly understand and believe in.
I think that's the most real answer I have heard about luck. I mean, and not trying to sound smarter or something like that. That's exactly maybe how everyone subconsciously feels about luck, but nobody, just says it out loud there. Um, Pratik, tell us about how you have been an entrepreneur and now a principal at a VC firm, and you also said that you come from a trader background. Tell us about like your journey and how did you navigate this entire professional path?
Yeah, I've been moving around. I had been moving around quite a bit. So I graduated from college wanting to become a professor. Like I want to do a PhD in math. But for different reasons, I was uncomfortable staying outside India then. So I said, well, let's join a mathy firm right now, and we'll figure it out later. And I joined Morgan Stanley Quant Group. Great folks, loved working with them. Everyone there was math Olympiad or a math PhD, so we had a lot of fun. I had a math blog, which was very active then, and we used to solve puzzles over lunch. And it was just fun. I think that was a good place to be in. Very, very smart folks. Then I wanted to do a startup, and my idea of startup was also very math first. I was not really thinking about building a business. I was only thinking about, hey, this will be cool to solve. And with all respect, the movie Social Network had come then. So I thought that building a product will work, and you just need to build a product, and everything will go viral. And that's what startup is. It was naive and stupid then. And I was pitching some of those ideas to some friends that, hey, what can be done on top of satellite data, and what can be done on top of what can be done on top of the ambient music that you are hearing, and can you understand that and do something on top of that. It was all school math problems to solve, but not really, perhaps not really businesses to build. Uh, and and uh, and that's when I was advised that I should get some business experience before doing a startup. I don't think that's the right advice, but I followed that, and I joined. Well, you get business experience in consulting firms. Consulting firms was a bit late for me. In those days, startups did not really exist in some sense, because they were not Flipkart, Ola. Like there were very few, and there were very few startups out there. So it was not that, hey, you could join a startup and learn how the startup works. And then I joined. I was advised to join that best consulting folks would go to private equity, so you should join private equity. And I joined Blackstone, a phenomenal firm, very hardworking people, very smart and driven people. Uh, but I did not associate with the work that we were doing there, because I wanted to build a tech business, and I was learning accounting and cement business. I was learning general business building there. And at that point of time, Facebook IPO had happened, iPad was launched, and I was like, dude, this is the time to build tech business. Ola raised a super large round, and because Ola I could associate with most, right? Because I was a senior from college. So it felt ki, yeah, this is the time to do a startup. I'm wasting my time doing anything else and not being in tech. I think that was a very right call. The gut was right that I want to be in the tech side. Uh, but but the startup calls I made were all wrong. So I built multiple startups, well, which were really multiple products. Nothing worked out. Could never raise capital. So was short of money in between. So did freelancing for a couple of US startups. Spent 3 years building lots of products, doing freelancing, startup as a CTO, startup as a CEO. Most things did not work out, and could never raise money. My last startup was working out a bit, but I think I was already too tired after working for so long and not seeing any result, and I caved in then. And I wanted to be at a place where I could learn from someone. I could see what startup building is, and I could see how startups are being built. Now now i my, my best friends had become VCs, because while I was building the startups, I was pitching to them a lot. So I had some idea of what VCs are. And in those days, neither VCs nor startups would hire non MBAs for business roles. So I tried getting into all the top startups. They said no, because they said no for product or business roles, because I did not go to a B school. I went to all the VCs, and almost everyone said no, because I did not go to a B school. But after some perseverance, uh, some of them became warm, and like it happens in all fundraising as well, once Nexus was there, then everyone else was also there. And it was easier for me to decide who I wanted to be with, where I wanted to work. And Nexus, because it is a smaller firm, and more horizontal firm, in the sense that we're not divided by spaces, we're not divided by verticals. I felt that it would be a good place for me to learn about startup building. To be honest, I did not expect that I'll be here for 6 years. Then my agenda or intent then was to learn and get out of the continuous failure machine I had gone into, because I was starting company, building a product, not working, building a product, not working, building a product, not working. I wanted to learn from someone and break that cycle, and join Nexus and continued to enjoy what I was doing, and been here since 6 years, and learning with the firm and from the founders I've been lucky to invest in.
Wow, I think accepting that, and while I was also just hearing about your entire journey is very motivating, because like entrepreneurs, or I mean, it's the media space, or the internet is just about some crazy stories about how much money I've raised, and all of those things. But there are a lot of entrepreneurial stories where sometimes things don't work out, and then you change your path and move on to something else. And I think that's also something that we should really put it out there. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Pawan,
um
it's so amazing that I have so many friends who have built so many products and they have been doing this in the last 10 years and they are still persevering and no one knows their name. They are very high body folks. They are very smart. But entrepreneurship is so difficult that for them to shine, it will require some supreme sense of some supreme power of luck to get them out of the system. It's just very very difficult, and that's why like entrepreneurship is perhaps the most difficult job out there.
yeah, Pratik, a small sub question, because and out of just curiosity, how do you decide like, no, this is not for me? Like, I don't want to continue building these products or being an entrepreneur anymore, and I want to jump into something else. How do you decide that you don't want to be an entrepreneur?
So yeah, it's very personal. Everyone will decide for himself based on their emotional situation, their financial situation, their passion. I don't think that there's one right answer for everyone. Now, from my perspective, it was easier because I knew I was not happy. I knew I was not creating value. I knew I was working hard, but I knew I was going further down and down. And lost a, I had lost the visibility on how to get out of it. So for me, it was easier. Now, the counter argument is, hey, perseverance wins, and you just continue and then you will win. Well, maybe that's true, and maybe if I would have continued, I would have done better in life. But I knew why. I know why I took the choice I did, uh, and so I'm fine with it. And it's very personal. So the way I think about it, I exactly record in my mind the frame, the feelings I had when I was taking the decision. And I distinctly remember the feeling I had when I was saying, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. And that feeling makes ensures that I'm never thinking back and saying, hey, I could have done something else, because I know exactly the feeling. And when I have that feeling again, I know that my choice is not wrong. But hey, it's just maybe I was weak, maybe I did not have emotional strength. Maybe I did not have financial strength. That's why I took the choices I took. Maybe someone else will do it differently, and that's totally fine. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of maybe entrepreneurs, or let me just speak for myself, I really juggle between, that perseverance thought that, let's not give up and, just keep going about it. And that rational thought that, no, I'm going to financially burn out now and, emotionally also burn out. So maybe I should stop this and, jump into something else. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs sometimes juggle around between those two thoughts. So, but I also understand it's very, very personal and depends on a lot of factors. Depends on, where, at what point you are in your life, family, or whatever your, you know, societal, or, from where you come from. So a lot of personal factors that it's dependent on. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's really, really important to also address that. Maybe sometimes you know when to stop and, take the next jump into something else altogether. Moving on from these conversations, I want to ask you something about, what do you really think about how the content space in India or globally is evolving, especially like the very recent. Let's consider we are also recording a podcast episode, or the clubhouse trend that's constantly growing around, and is massively reaching to millions. What do you think? How do you think like the content ecosystem is growing and evolving, and what are some trends that you think might be visible in the next few years?
Hmm. So you know, so I'll first talk about it from a global perspective. So in general, as new technology formats or technology medium come, people are not innovative, and people just slap the existing content format on the new technology. So when TV came, people actually had posters shown in TV, because that is what you understand, because newspaper was before that, and newspaper had effectively that poster print. So that's what human beings are, and that's what we would naturally do. And over time, someone will recognize the power of that platform and build a new content format. And the reality is that you and I will never be smart enough to understand what the world could do out of a technology platform. Now, I saw that movie, the Marathi movie, where Dada Sahab Phalke knew how to now create a movie for the first time, and a silent movie he was creating, right? And he just got a camera, and what can be done out of it? It's just amazing to realize that the technology that he had in his hand for the first time ever. When you have seen movies, it's very obvious for you, acha, I can do this, I can do that. But when you get it for the first time, then things you could do from that, one thing is, I am holding something and suddenly next moment it's not there, and voila, magic. Or a tree is growing fast, because you just have frames every 5 days and you feel that tree is growing very fast. Now, a lot of these things you and I could never have imagined. If I got the camera for the first time ever, and I have never seen what a movie means. And so when you look at content, you get inspired and you know what's the power of the technology platform. So I give this context because when internet came, when the desktop, PC and internet came, then YouTube was the most natural format of of delivery, because it was effectively TV with the same aspect ratio brought online. People, then mobile came, then what did people do? People just put mobile there. Cool. But then people realize that it's stupid. Mobile is a easier used in a verticalized format, and full screen is a better medium. And TikTok and Snapchat did a great job, well, Musically and Snapchat did a great job in creating a new content format. What mobile also gives the power to you is to add interactions, because it can be participatory, because TV could not be participatory, because TV could not get feedback from me. Newspaper could not be participatory. This could be participatory. And it's not only for videos, text. Like, you got your newspaper, you said, I'll compress it. I'll put the same thing on the website, and it will be a news website. It's the same thing. Nothing changed. But then the photo slideshows, well, new format. And then when you bring it on mobile and summarize it and uh, have a sliding card, new format, new form of interaction that just changes the way you consume. Creation is just changed completely. Earlier, you would create very, with huge equipments over time. You'd create from a camera, because distribution was easy on YouTube. And I'm talking more about video, because video is more easily understood, and then of course this can be copied on other formats as well. And then the editing tool is superior, because now the mobiles are more powerful from a computational perspective. You can do magic, and that, in my mind, is the end game, right? That new format creates new technology medium, creates new formats of consumption and creation. In that spirit, I think Clubhouse is the natural extension to what has happened in text and video, and the same thing is happening in audio at some level. Now, so the way I think about it is, video had become participatory, text had become participatory, but audio was never participatory till now. So Clubhouse did that. Clubhouse made podcast more engaging at some level, and the cost of live content creation is significantly lesser than cost of recorded conversation, primarily because in recorded the expectation is that it's very, very strong, well edited, and Everyone has thought about it better, in the sense, like, by the way, this conversation is being recorded, but it's being recorded as a live conversation, so the bar of editing is significantly lower compared to if it was a documentary where one person was speaking. Then in a documentary the bar is very high, and it will cost 500K to create this video.
Yeah, yeah,
So Clubhouse made that bar lower, that when I'm on podcast I have to think about it very deeply. Cannot happen, or like I need to be very very sharp about everything I say. In a conversation it's easy, maybe I've repeated some things, but it's okay. The bar is lower, higher quality content gets created in abundance, supply of content increases, the demand is happier, and if you can create a good feed and create a good engaging platform, it works. So participatory nature of participatory nature and increase in content supply because of high quality creation tools are two important features of a lot of new content companies that are being created globally. I would add the new medium that we are not talking about as much right now, and that would be AR and VR as well. That when those medium and platforms get adopted, then new content formats will get created, and newer ways of creation and consumption would come in, which you and I cannot imagine today, because you and I will never be able to think about what would happen when everyone is thinking about AR first, or VR first. And there'll be new opportunities because of that. In India, though, we are at a different stage. In India, we did not have desktop for most people. So in India, it's primarily mobile phones, and in India, internet penetration has increased over the past 3 4 5 years only. And so we were the first investors in Pratilipi. Now Pratilipi is a vernacular content platform. This was before everyone was using the word vernacular as much in the story, because Geo had not come. Not there are not many there were not many uh, Indian language platforms out there, and people were not looking at it as aggressively. uh, and they have built a fantastic community of 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 creators creating content for the readers, and lots of readers are there, and readers are coming for the high quality creators, and there's a strong flywheel there. And they are helping creators reach out to the right audience and the right partners, and grow. So that the platform would be created because there was a inherent demand, and those guys were coming online for the first time, and they were anyways wanting to read books. But Pratilipi democratizes the supply, and anyone can create content, anyone can write those things, which which was very difficult to publish earlier, and anyone can read with ease and with affordability, and that creates a fantastic flywheel effect. So in India, I think a lot of companies that we are seeing, and whether it's ShareChat, whether it's Daily Hunt, a lot of companies are really catering to not new formats really, but it's about existing fulfilling the existing demand, which is the right thing to do. The next wave of innovation is newer formats which will come, but to begin with, text, video, audio, comics, these are the well established content formats, and everyone is first trying to win in these categories. And we will see in India as well, perhaps after 5 years, that you will see innovation in new content formats that are being created. Indians might be more chatty in chat rooms. So a different type of
mm,
platform would be there. Maybe because India has, because social structure gets copied, right? So the way religious conversations happen in India, maybe they will get transformed in a different way on a new tech platform. We don't know. We cannot imagine what would happen. But right now I'm seeing less innovation on the
yeah.
content format side from India. I'm seeing more innovation on the distribution and the democratization of the supply side for most people.
Got it. Um, this brings me to my second last question, and actually, I had a lot of questions, but I have to pick and choose which one to ask. This is with respect to how these content platforms, let's say Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, any of these different content technologies that are already out there. about how they really make money. So their major, I mean, for Facebook, it's the advertisement revenue that they make, and eventually for content creators, it's like the more we keep publishing, the more we keep creating YouTube videos, more ads will be seen. That's how creators make money. That's how YouTube also makes money. A new format altogether is coming, which is, let's say, Substack, where it's like subscription based platform, and your audience can pay you money directly, and it reaches to you, and that's how you sustain. And some of the top writers on Substack make $500,000 yearly, and maybe more than that. So that's like a new trend or a new wave that we are seeing in the content and content creator side of things. What do you think might be some trends, especially in these content ecosystem or for the creators, that might be, very, very key trends in the next few years?
First of all, few clarifications. One, in my mind, if as a platform, if you have huge reach, then you have a choice between advertising versus subscription. But if you don't have a huge reach, then for you to become a large company, the right answer for you for sure is subscription, because advertisement works only at very large scale, and subscription works when the engagement is very deep. So for when you have differentiated content which people love and are deeply engaged with, then subscription works. Subscription will not work elsewhere, and advertisement works only and only when you have very, very large scale. If you are subscale, you should not think about advertisement. So now, second clarification, only one person at Substack makes $500,000, as far as I saw last. So I think there's a huge boom of creator economy, but I would still want to keep things in perspective that most creators still need to work very hard to make money off these platforms, and hence you need to identify the niche you are great at and be successful in that niche. And being like in any entrepreneurial system, you have to be amongst the best at that job. Then only you will be able to make money. Otherwise, the returns are significantly lower, and the outcomes are not as easy. So in my mind, I think it depends on the skill you have. If you are a more horizontal and mass appeal creator, then advertising should work for you, might work for you. If you are a very high quality, deep, engaging creator, then subscription might be a better answer for you. But it has been written everywhere, and I just want to repeat it, that creating following requires discipline, consistency, and hard work. It's not that I start a Substack blog today and I know I'll make money. Like, it's on Twitter, it's on TikTok, it's on YouTube, it's on Substack. You have to work hard, consistently, publish every week, every 15 days, and build your following. And after 2 years, 5 years, you see those returns of those investment. And creating a following is not easy. It's like,
Yeah.
I often say that if you have 10,000 followers on any platform, like Instagram, Twitter, like, if you have 10,000 followers on any platform, you know how difficult it is to create any type of following. It just requires a lot of hard work, consistent work, to get that. And I just want to put things in perspective, that it's a great opportunity for creators. For the first time ever, you could be entrepreneur, working at your own will, and making money consistently forever. So you are really capturing the equity of the work you are creating. So it's phenomenal, but it requires a lot of hard work for you to reach there. It does not happen in day one, and it takes a lot of
Yeah.
effort.
This actually just sets a building block for my last question, and it's also in reference to how you mentioned that 50% depends on who the founder is and what the team is. So the last question that I want to ask you is, what are the three or five, or let's say the few qualities that you look in an entrepreneur before investing in them and in the company that they are building?
Yeah, so I think because startup building takes a lot of time, and it requires you to be ready to face all the hurdles that will come with it later. I think the must needed skill is perseverance slash grit. It's like you everything will go for a toss, and then also founders just magically get it done. Every decade some disaster like 2008 financial crisis or covid or something like that happens, and only perseverance is what helps the founder get it out of the woods. So perseverance is by far the most important most important trait. The other thing is that I often think about is, what is your superpower? Why are you the right person? What is it that you believe in that no one else believes in? What is it that you know that no one else knows? I think i think that core unique belief slash skill is sometimes a good differentiator for me, because that means you have thought about it deeper, you have visualized it better than anyone else, and so you will be always one step, two steps ahead of everyone else, even if people start to copy you. So I sometimes think that ideas where not all of us in the team are aligned are actually better ideas. Because if all of us in the team are aligned, then everyone in the ecosystem is aligned. And if everyone in the ecosystem is aligned, then more people will do it. And then it will be a competitive market. I think it's better to invest in or build unsexy startups, because if you are unsexy, then no one will copy you, no one will invest in your competitors, and then it's perhaps you'll have the time and money to just focus on building the right product and solving the right problem for your customer, and then grow. So that unique belief slash right to win is something that I think about often.
So being unsexy is the new sexy, is what
Well, i
we
don't want
could
to
say.
I don't want to say it, because then it becomes sexy and then it's a problem. So I don't want to say it.
But thank you so much, Pratik, for sharing all these insights with us. I think I'm going to take back a lot of key pointers from this, and especially everyone who's watching this or listening to this on any of these audio platforms, they would also feel the same. So thank you so much for giving us your
Thank you for
time
your
today.
time. It was super talking to you. Best of luck.
If you like this conversation with Pratik, please feel free to share it across the social handles. We have also mentioned the link to Pratik's Twitter account. So if you want to address any questions to him, tag him, reach out to him, please feel free to do that. Pepper Spotlight is a weekly podcast show where we release a new episode every Wednesday, 3 p.m. on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Hubhopper, Ghana, any podcast app that you have, you'll find us over there. And if you have any suggestions, any recommendations, just hit us a DM on @pepper_content, and we'll be happy to take any recommendations and suggestions that you have. Till that time, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you again next week.